Marcus Anderson and Meghan's plot to hide fake Lilibet and Archie. Harry struggled in helplessness to escape the evil hand. Let me tell you all a little something about lies that you probably already know. The longer that a lie is allowed to fester, the worse it's going to be when it finally comes to light, and it always will. There are already some big questions about why exactly Archie is not in school anywhere and why nobody ever sees him. It's time for the palace to come clean about this matter and just let the chips fall where they may. Giving Meghan any kind of leverage is a big mistake. And yes, they're going to have to deal with some criticism, but they'll survive this storm. I mean, honestly, folks, how long can this go on? Kids grow up, and eventually they have to become part of society. Now, supposedly, Archie is already 5 years old, and it is well past time that he's visible. What exactly is their excuse going to be in a year or 2 or 3? And then what about Lilibet? She should be following right behind. Does Meghan think that everybody's just going to forget about the kids? Now at this point, I'm almost expecting an announcement that the kids have been in some type of terrible accident. And considering the fact that Meghan is willing to throw Harry under the bus, I expect she's going to say the accident was all Harry's fault. And an LA source has revealed that Harry has decided to leave the children behind. Everybody is wondering what Marcus Anderson and Meghan were discussing. He was with Meghan in May for her invisible son's birthday. It has also been reported that Marcus and Meghan went out hiking together the day after. And we're hearing that Harry came back home to Montecito after the coronation, and he didn't go out hiking with them. So were they talking about Harry staying at the San Vicente bungalows all by himself? Or maybe they talked about Harry revealing that he wants to turn his back on the show business life, in which he really feels like a fish out of water, where he has already talked about feeling uncomfortable. And now apparently Harry is saying that he wants to go to Africa. I'm guessing that Marcus and Meghan would be thrilled to see him out of the way. Harry said, "I want to gravitate back to charity and campaigning work in Africa to film a documentary following in the footsteps of my mother." Did Meghan tell him to say this, though? I would guess so. It looks like Marcus is right back in Meghan's life. I mean, he really is her mastermind of networking. Now, what in the world are they up to? I'm sure it's nothing good. I've heard, though, that Marcus can be a pretty dangerous person because he's got all the dirt on most of the important people in Europe and in the US. Now, Anderson and Meghan have been so close for years now. He probably is the only man she has ever been faithful to. He'll show up with her out and about every so often, but he has always been there in the background, even to the point of apparently living with Meghan and Harry. He is such a sleazeball, and in every photo of him with Meghan, he's got that smirk on his face because he knows that Harry is a cuckold. Meghan is also not trying to hide the fact that she is distancing herself from Harry. He has basically served his purpose at this point in time. She's looking at her new career with the Duchess title attached to her, being this globally famous award-winning film producer and model for some of the world's top companies. Meghan has already told people that Harry is basically ineffective in this environment. And what has happened to the loving father? When he's enjoying his escape at the San Vicente bungalows, does he miss his young kids who are clearly sitting at home just missing him? And then when he goes to Africa, what about the children? How are they going to deal with life without him? And the most ironic thing in all of this is that if Harry had just stayed on as a working royal, then he would have been so much more empowered to do his charity work in Africa. Now, if he did go back right now, it looks like he has lost that very useful publicity platform for all his charities. And I am not even certain that Africa would be excited to see him. They have basically already said that they were not going to welcome Harry and Meghan back after all the trouble that Meghan caused when they were there the last time. He has also done nothing to honor his late mother's memory. I mean, come on, he has only dishonored it. Harry needs to shut his mouth and lay low. We all need a long break from his whining, I would say at least 10 years or so. And he needs to spend some time working on himself if he wants to convince people that he really has changed. This, to me, just sounds like a PR attempt to redeem himself. I'm sure that he learned that from Meghan. And Harry is not embarrassed by these questions at all. But you know who is embarrassed? The royal family. They simply don't know what to say about this whole mess. And this is only fueling the rumor again that there aren't any kids. I cannot imagine what hold Meghan has over Charles that makes him so scared to be honest. Why in the world are they so scared of Meghan? Are they just too scared to reveal the bullying report, too scared to take the children off the line of succession? Were they too scared to refuse to give titles to invisible kids? And if so, why? Furthermore, Charles should really reveal the truth about the non-existence of the invisible kids. And he could also explain why the royal family felt like they needed to go along with this cover story. And then I suspect the people of the UK would eventually feel sympathetic with this impossible situation when it comes to his son and daughter-in-law, and also the royal family's involvement in this whole facade. Both in Britain and in the US, Meghan and Harry's credibility has hit an all-time low, and now is the time for the truth to finally come out. To allow it to go on is going to spell the death of the monarchy. Back when the alleged children were supposedly born, Prince Philip was not in good health, and the late Queen was also not in good health. Now, I think that both of those factors would be good reasons for avoiding drama and stress, but at this point, those reasons are no longer valid. Charles, though, needs to address this issue. He's the king. It's time for him to show that he's a real leader and that he's not weak. When it comes to his traitorous son and Meghan Markle, he has got to take a hard line. Many people have written to him, including myself, to talk about our concerns over this issue. But if anybody has gotten a response from Buckingham Palace, well, I don't know about it. The growing discontent when it comes to the truth of Harry's kids' existence is not confined to British shores either. Now it's being questioned all over the world. And when it comes to Harry moving to Africa, I suspect that Harry is just desperate to pitch something that has a chance of being at the very least moderately successful with Netflix. Both of them have got to realize this is essentially their last chance to make a go of it. If they lose the Netflix contract and the money that goes along with it, I don't think their marriage is going to survive. And of course, Harry is going to use his late mother yet again as a selling point to try to get people to watch this documentary. Because he figures that his mother's name would still sell. And what does it mean to Harry now? He has already drug his mother all through the mud. Why not drag her through the African clay too? And it looks like Meghan is busy trying to come up with something with a possible sellability to Netflix. Meanwhile, she is figuring out a way to get those kids, divorce Harry, and set up a new life with her title and whatever money happens to be left over. And if Meghan can figure out some way to stay married to Harry, but send him to Africa, well, then all the better for her. Then she and Dory can really put their heads together to try to figure out who should be her next focus, so that when she's ready, she can move on to her new prey and never have to live without the protection of a man to provide for and protect her. Meanwhile, Harry's going to be left with nobody. No wife, no children, no money, no family, no respect, and no real home. But you know what? That is exactly what happens when you become obsessed with someone and you try to hold on to them by always giving them what they want, by hurting other people, and by doing whatever you can just to keep them happy. Because the truth is, women like Meghan are never going to be happy. The closest that she could possibly come to happiness would be by manipulating people to do whatever it is that she wants. Meghan is a nasty human being, and she is such an embarrassment to women all over the world. What a disgusting person. And you, what do you think about Harry and Meghan? Please tell me your opinion below in the comments. If you think my video is useful, remember to like it and share it with your relatives and friends who would love it anytime you want. And don't be afraid to click the subscribe button to get more updates in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in, have a lovely weekend, and we'll be back to see you all tomorrow.